Hello, hello. Welcome to today's webinar. The theme of today is Google Ads Direct Connect, our newest integration with Google. I would like to start by introducing you to our fabulous presenters we have. First up, we have Todd Fisher, who is our co-founder, CEO, and coder extraordinaire. I'll also be presenting today. My name is Jessica Michaels, and I am our product coach here. As coach, I like to start my webinars with a couple of exercises to get to know the GoToWebinar control panel better and make sure that we're all able to see and hear my screen. Okay, so if you navigate to your GoToWebinar control panel, you'll see there's a hand raise icon. If you can hear me, raise your hand. Okay, I see hands going up all over the place. Great, it looks like pretty much everyone can hear me. Awesome. So I'm going to pull those hands down. Now, if you can see my screen, which should be a welcome image with Todd and my face on it, will you raise your hand again? All right, I see hands going up. Excellent, excellent. Great. Looks like we are in good shape. So I'm going to pull those down. Next, if you scroll down, we have a handouts panel. If you go to the handouts, you can download this slide deck, so you can have that. We'll also be emailing that around after the webinar, but it's always great to grab it now. And lastly, you'll see that there is a questions box. If you can find the questions box, tell us who you are and where you're dialing in from. And we'll see some answers coming through. All right, looks like we have some people dialing in from Idaho, Miami, Pittsburgh. Oh, we have some people from Switzerland. Welcome. Ontario, so we have Canada representing. Fargo, we have people from West Palm Beach, New Jersey, New Hampshire, San Antonio, Dallas, Nashville, Wisconsin, Tennessee, North Carolina, Cancun. Oh my gosh, they're coming in really quickly now. Alabama, I'm trying to give everyone a little shout out. The suite below us, we have Colorado representing. Awesome, welcome everyone. We have a large turnout for the webinar today, so we're really excited about that. Okay, so it looks like we're all pretty familiar with the GoToWebinar control panel. If you do have any trouble with the audio connectivity today, please chat in so our team can help troubleshoot. Now, I'd like to kick things off with a quick poll to see our range of attendance by plan type and put a little test to your Google knowledge. So with that, I have some little polls for us. All right, so the first question is, which call tracking metrics plan are you on? Are you on our business plan, our marketing plan, our contact center plan, or another one of our legacy plans? Or maybe you're not a client yet. There is no right or wrong answer. We're just trying to get a feel for who we have in attendance. All right. I'll give you guys just another second. Looks like about half of us have voted. All right, let's take a look. And I'll share my results. Okay, looks like we have a handful on the business plan, the majority on the marketing plan, about 13% on our contact center plan, 7% on others, which are probably some of our legacy plans, and 6% who aren't clients yet. Winky face. Well, welcome everyone. The reason I ask this is I want to make sure we're starting off on the right foot. This new exciting integration is powered by triggers. So in order to utilize it, you must be on an agency plan that offers triggers, which is our marketing and contact center plans. I do believe that some of our older legacy plans offer triggers. You'll just need to check inside of your account to make sure that you have access to those. All right. Now, just for fun, because the theme of today is Google, let's launch a Google trivia. What was the first ever Google Doodle? Was it a lava lamp, a Burning Man stick figure, or the binary code for Google? There's actually a fourth option. I don't know what happened to it. It didn't make the cut. All right, I'll give you guys just another second to cast your votes. See who knows their Google trivia. All right, looks like about 70% have voted, so let's take a look. Oh. Okay, looks like 15% of us think it's a lava lamp, 30% of us think it was a Burning Man stick figure, and the majority think that it was a binary code for Google. Well, the correct answer is a Burning Man stick figure. So it was actually a out of office message, which was put up in 1989 when members of the Google team were traveling to Nevada to attend the Burning Man Festival. So looks like 30% of us got it right. All right, we have a packed agenda for you today. We're going to start with exploring what's new. Todd's actually going to give us a quick overview. Then we're going to get into the integration. We're going to look at the agency level connection. We're going to talk about the true bidirectional communication. We're going to talk about triggers. We're going to look at our new diagnostic reports and logs. Then we're going to switch into a live demo. We're going to talk about our best practices, and then we have some time at the end for a live Q&A. So again, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put them into the question box. We have team members on hand ready to answer them, and some we might actually just save for the live Q&A. So with that, let's hear from our CEO, Todd, who personally built this exciting new integration. So welcome, Todd.
All right. Thank you, Jess, so much for that introduction. That was really fun. Enjoyed that a lot. To start, so the Google Ads integration, the focus of this integration is to make it easier for marketing agencies and clients to connect, thousands of AdWords accounts, which will enable you to more easily track, call conversions. And so it really highlights three main features. So we wanted to make sure it can leverage our triggering system. And this is so that we can track offline conversions effectively for you. So whereas before it was difficult to track those call-only conversions, this integration solves that problem by making it automatic through our triggering system. And additionally, we wanted to make sure that we gave you a mechanism to identify when an issue arises on your website. So you've installed our JavaScript code, you've gone through all those steps, and then next thing you know, maybe a website gets redesigned or a new web page gets published and tracking code isn't installed, or target number is missing, or a new phone number gets published. The health checks are really designed to help identify those issues before they become, before weeks have gone by, right? So help you catch these issues in the moment. So to summarize, it's about making it easy to connect to Google Ads, manage multiple customer accounts, using our triggers to handle offline and online conversions, and have a better sort of health check on your website. So Jess is going to do an amazing job here of going through the product next and sharing all the great things that the team has built. I hope you all find this really exciting, as I do. All right, back to you, Jess.
All right, thanks for that, Todd. All right, so what's new? Why are we so excited about this? Well, some of the direct benefits that are coming from this is no Google Analytics middleman. So we could historically send conversions into Google Ads, we could do all that, but analytics was very much the middleman, and we've removed the middleman. It's going to be all trigger-based, so we took that setup out of analytics and we're putting it all in our system, so it'll just make the whole process easy, seamless, and we can automate conversions for click-to-calls. Now, this is something that is completely new, so this is extremely exciting. So we couldn't even offer this at all before. Now we can do it completely automated. And then, of course, we can connect at the agency level, which is also super exciting. So let's dive into it. This is our first integration that connects at the agency level, meaning that you can effortlessly connect all of your CTM sub-accounts to your Google Ads accounts with the click of a button. This integration is a big win for agencies because you can now instantly sync all of your Google Ads accounts to your CallTrackingMetrics accounts. Once connected to your Google Ads master account, we'll pull all of your sub-accounts and automatically match them to your ads accounts, which you can adjust with a simple drop-down. Another fun new feature is we're giving you the option to choose which platform you want to control the attribution for the activities. Before this, Google Analytics was a source of truth. Now we're giving you the option to pull the attribution right from ads itself. In a matter of seconds, you can connect your ads accounts, select your attribution, and start sending your phone calls, chats, and form submissions as conversions into Google Ads. We have pre-built settings, but also give you full flexibility to further customize and qualify what you want to be credited as a conversion. In addition to streamlining the connecting process, we're also giving you the ability to connect multiple users and multiple Google Ads master accounts, meaning that you can connect one CallTrackingMetrics accounts to 2 or more separate ads accounts. And if you are an agency and have multiple Google Ads master accounts, we can link to those too. Our goal was to make this whole experience easy and in one place. Another really exciting feature is that this is our first true bidirectional communication with Google Ads. Now, don't get me wrong, we've always been able to pull attribution from paid calls in the past and send conversions into ads, but like I mentioned earlier, a majority of the work was handled by Google Analytics. With this new integration, we're automating the conversions and pulling the attribution right from Google Ads rather than using analytics as the middleman, who previously passed information back and forth between CTM and Google Ads. Another value add is with Ads Direct, there isn't a limit to the amount of conversions you can create and send, which allows you to have far more flexibility, control, and gives you a lot more ways to qualify your conversions. In Google Ads integration, in the Google Analytics integration, Analytics only allows you to create 20 goals per view, which limited the ways that you could slice up your conversions. So now, if you wanted to, you could create a conversion for calls that are between 2 and 5 minutes long, sure, no problem. But maybe you wanted to have another one that was for calls between 2 minutes and 5 minutes with the tag of appointment scheduled, not a problem. We could do another one for calls between 2 and 5 minutes with the tag of appointment scheduled and then scored with 3 stars. Why not? So you get the idea that it's going to give you a lot more flexibility. This brings us to configuring the conversions with the use of CallTrackingMetrics triggers. CallTrackingMetrics will create what is known as a preset trigger for the conversions. What's even cooler is CTM will automatically create 2 new conversion actions inside of your ads accounts and map the activities to them. Seriously, how cool is that? The preset will default to sending for inbound calls, which are greater than 60 seconds. You can choose to modify the trigger to further qualify which you wish to attribute as conversions. For example, you could choose to include activities other than just calls. You could include forms and chats as well. You could expand or shrink the required talk time. I have some examples of other ways you can customize your triggers that I'll be showing during the live demo portion of the webinar. The last really awesome feature on this page is, yes, we create conversion actions and automatically map to it, but we also give you the ability to select from a drop-down all the other conversion actions you've created in your Google Ads accounts that we can map to. So if you already have conversions you want to send your CallTrackingMetrics activities to, that's not a problem at all. So a quick recap on the triggers. We're going to have presets for you. We're going to automatically create 2 conversion actions inside of Google Ads so that the data will seamlessly flow. There's no need for analytics to micromanage the conversions. The entire process will be built inside of CallTrackingMetrics, which is such a huge win because our team is going to be able to support you through the whole process. Before, everything was built through goals and analytics, and that it made the troubleshooting a little bit more difficult. So lastly, you can map to additional conversions that you have built inside of your ads account by selecting from the dropdown. With the new integration, we've launched some really cool reports and logs. So let's take a look at those. One of the really interesting questions we've gotten in the past is we've had our clients ask us how they can better optimize their ads accounts for CTM, which is a really fair question, but one that we struggled with. We couldn't really provide helpful feedback because we didn't have any insight into their ads accounts. It was a little bit like we just didn't know what we didn't know, so we couldn't offer any advice on it. Well, with our new diagnostic reports, we can now see everything Google Ads can see, meaning that we can automatically detect if you have landing pages without a tracking code on them. We'll be able to detect if you're sending paid traffic to pages where a phone number isn't visible, and we'll be able to tell you if there's phone numbers on your page that aren't swapping for a tracking number, which now gives us the ability to say, yes, here's how you can optimize your ads better for call tracking. So that's a pretty big win. But we didn't stop with that. We're also going to give you some really interesting information account-wide and key metrics about how the calls you're receiving, such as call-through rates and cost per call. And we're going to tell you the number of tracking numbers you have assigned. We're going to tell you the number of target numbers we've recognized. We're going to tell you the amount of landing pages we've checked, as well as any errors that come in. But wait, there's more. We go even further with landing page key metrics, reporting on things like the source name, clicks, calls and call through rate, cost and cost per call, the errors we found. Another question we used to get all the time is, why didn't this call count as a conversion in ads? Which before we had a hard time answering because analytics was the one who passed the information into ads. Now we have a front row seat where we can see and report on the status of the conversion sent. So with that, we have our new logs. So the logs will provide information on the conversion name and value, the conversion time, the call ID and the Google Click ID, the process time, and then the status message. So if you're wondering why that call didn't convert in ads, no problem, we have the answer for you. And if it didn't, we'll be able to tell you why. So all pretty exciting, right? So enough talk, and let's see how it works firsthand. So I'm going to switch over into my demo account. Here we go. If you've attended any of my webinars before, you know that I use this Coco Loco site. So to connect the integration, we're going to head over to our integrations, which can be found under Settings, Integrations. And then we're going to scroll to our Google Ads. Now, when you come here, you're going to see there's two options. This is our legacy one, and the new one will be labeled Direct Connect. So we're going to go ahead and select that one. And then we're not connected at this point, so we would want to connect. So we'd say connect to Google Ads. Now from here, it's going to ask you which user you're connecting to. You're going to want to select the user that has access to the master account. So I'm going to go ahead and select this user and allow. So it's doing a little work behind the scenes. Google Ads and CTM are connecting and passing data. Looks like they're playing catch maybe. So we'll give that just a second. There we go. So at this point, we're almost connected, but my user has access to multiple manager accounts. So from here, I have to select which manager account I want to link to. So I'm going to go ahead and select the second one and then say update manager account. There we go. So once I've done that, you'll see that it'll populate the ads account under that master. And over here, we have our CallTrackingMetrics accounts. Now, what's really cool is we can say, why don't we just let this do all the work for us and say automatic matching. So it's going to be able to identify which CTM account matches the ads account. So pretty cool. And then I would want to say update mapping. Now, just on this note, if you can think about an agency coming over to us and bringing 10, maybe 50, or even 150 accounts, this would be so easy to set up and connect with really a click of a button. So from here, I can say update mapping, and that's going to link the Google account to the sub account. And I will say confirm. Now it's updating, so this will take just a second. And we're good. So now we know that we have an active connection. We can see the sub-account ID that we're connected to, as well as the Google Ads account and the Google Ads account ID. So as I mentioned in the slides, we have the ability to control the attribution. So do we want that to be controlled by Google Analytics, or do we want to pull that from Google Ads? So if I wanted to pull it from Google Ads, I could go ahead and select it here. And then if we wanted to set up the conversion trigger, I would check here. Now I'm going to do something different with this one, so we're going to come back to it. So for this one, I'm going to hit both boxes and say update account mapping. Now we are going to automatically create that preset I told you about, where it's going to be set for a talk time of greater than 60 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm there. And that's going to run in the background. Now again, if you can imagine, you have, 50 accounts, it would just seamlessly be creating those different triggers and mapping right there for you, which is awesome. So we can see now that the trigger has been created. So if I wanted to go into this individual sub account and take a look at that trigger, I could do that by simply hitting edit trigger. Now this is already live and ready to go. So what it's going to do is it's going to name it, it's going to put a description in, it's going to tell it to take place at the end of the call. It's going to trigger for all of my activities, which is fine. And here's where we're saying that the talk time is greater than 60 and the conversion or in the type is inbound call. Now here's the one auto-created. It didn't grab that. Here we go. So it actually auto-created both of these conversions for me, which is awesome. And then those actually will show up live in Google Ads, which hopefully, let's take a look, which we can see now. So I have this filter just to show the ones imported from clicks. Now, because I just connected, obviously there's no conversions to report, but they are live. So if I was doing a lot of call volume, these would start reporting immediately. Now, a few things to think about when you come here is that the conversion action has a lot that it's controlling. One is going to be the count. So if you think about, do you want, if one person calls your company 5 times, do you want that to count as 5 conversions, or do you want that to count as 1 conversion? So the conversion action here is going to control that. So by default, that's going to be set to every. So if you wanted to edit that, you could do so by simply clicking into the conversion. Maybe they didn't like that. Let's try that again. Well, ads isn't so happy right now. Come on. Switching to another account. All right, well, we'll come back to the ad side because it seems to just not be loading anything for either of my accounts, which just give that a minute. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you as well is if we come to the call log, we're able to pull in all the attribution from Google Ads because we are going to be communicating with them directly. Oops, let me switch to this account. Okay, so if I run a filter for CPC, we're going to be able to see all the campaign information. So before we could do this, but it was coming directly from Google Analytics, but now it's coming directly from ads. So we're going to be able to pull in the campaign, the ad group, the keyword, the source, the medium, the ad content, really all the information tucked in and folded from the click. So we'll be able to pull that into all of our reporting. Okay. Now what I wanted to show you from the Coco Loco side is something a little different. So let me go back to my integration setup. Okay. Okay. So with this one, I'm going to hit select and say update mapping. Now I have the option to use from a preset. So if I made a trigger that I wanted to use instead of the one that's automatically created, I could do that. So I could come here, and I have created 2 of them. So one is for leads, and I created one for sales as well. So let's go ahead and select this one and hit confirm. So that's going to process for just a second. Let ads reload too. Yeah, okay, so let's go take a look at that conversion. Whoop. So this is the one that it would map to. So we have our default one, which is awesome, but there's so much more flexibility that you can do by creating your own presets. So in this case, what I wanted to do is I wanted to send it to more than, or send conversions from more than just calls. I also wanted to include my forms and chats, and I wanted to be able to tag when those were sent. So from my call log, I would have a clear view of what calls were sent into Google Ads. And if we come here as well, I can see from the drop down, I can select other conversion actions that were created. So that's pretty cool. And if you're on any agency type of plan, if you create one of these, you can save it as a preset, and then you could use it for all of your accounts. So this is really great for measuring leads, but I have another one that I created for sales, which is this one. So for this one, I want to be able to tell not just which calls came in as leads, but I want to see which ones have actually been marked as conversions. So in this case, the activity or the trigger type is set to sale. And with the sale, talk time is really not going to be important to me. I'm just going to care that the sale took place. And then I'm going to tag it as a sale as well and map it to a separate conversion action. And what's really cool is in the call log, we can enter a value amount, and we can automatically map that into Google Ads as a conversion, which I could, okay, it's loading, yay. So here they are. So here's the new ones that I created. I'm almost afraid to switch because the other one wasn't working properly. But if you wanted to create some new ones to map to for something like sales or maybe qualified or appointment booking, you could do that by hitting the new conversion option and then saying import, and it's going to be other data source. And what you'll notice here is that there's 2 options for these. One is going to be to track conversions from clicks. I like to call those our calls from landing pages, and then we have track conversions from calls, and that's going to be for click to calls or ad extensions. So if you're creating one for something like call sales or qualified, you probably want to do it for both types. So let's say I want to do another one. I would come here. Now I'm going to have this be a sale, so I'm going to mark the category as a purchase, and I might just say CTM, I don't know, call sale, something like that. And with that, we could tell it to use a different value because we're going to automatically map the conversion value. And this is actually what I was trying to show you earlier when ads kind of locked up a little bit, is this is where we can control the count. So if somebody calls in 5 times, do I want 5 conversions? Or if they call in once, do I want it, or 5 times, do I want it to be 1 conversion? So that can be easily controlled on the ad side. Then you can hit create new and done. And what's cool is that new one will automatically show up on the trigger side. So if I were to refresh these and then refresh, I should see the new one created, CTM call sales. So that's the one that I just created. So it's really easy to create a conversion action inside of ads and then have it automatically show here and update real time, which is pretty cool. Okay, so with that, let's switch in and talk about some best practices. So let me switch my screens. There we go. All right. So some common questions that we run into is we have a lot of people who are using our previously configured Google integrations. So with that, there's really no need to remove those. After this, I'm actually going to switch back into ads and show you some best practices around those to prevent duplicating conversions, which would be actually to remove the imported Google Analytics conversion. Another option is for the call extensions. You could set the conversion to none, but I'm going to show you a really cool way to do that as well. And then if you want to create, second conversion triggers for call sales, you can do that. We actually showed you how to do that and make it a preset so that you could map that to all of your accounts very seamlessly. So let me switch back into ads again and give you a few troubleshooting tips. Assuming ads will play nice. Okay, so if you have used our Google Analytics integration, we actually encourage you to keep that running. We've noticed that a lot of marketers have different preferences. Some want to live solely inside of Google Ads and do the reporting in there, and others really like to pull their reporting inside of Google Analytics. So with that, we also want to make sure that that data is consistent between the platforms. Well, if you're doing the new integration and mapping to the new conversion actions we created and have these in here, that's going to be creating dupes, but in separate buckets. So there would be a conversion here and a conversion here. So what we want to do is something with these analytics conversions. So a real easy answer would be to simply remove them from Google Ads. Now with that, it's not going to touch the analytics side. So in analytics, those goals will still convert as conversions and be in all of your Google Analytics reporting. What it won't do is just pull that information into your ads dashboard. So that's one option. Another option is to actually edit the conversion, and you can tell it, there's this include in conversions option. If you don't want these to be included in your conversions, but still have kind of like a view into them, you could simply just uncheck them so it's not going to disrupt anything, but you'll still be able to see them. So a nice way to compare apples to apples. So I'm actually going to cancel that. Now let's go back. So that's a really nice way to do it. And then with our ad extensions integration, if you have an account like mine, and I have lots of different call extensions, if you go into these, you can see that the conversion is actually handled or configured on the individual extension. But we don't want you to have to go in and update each one of these, because ideally what you should do is set these to none so that these aren't reporting the same conversions that we're reporting, but in different places. So rather than having to go in and updating every single one of these, there's a really cool way that you can do it. So if we come to conversions again, and if we go to settings, oops, I already set it to none. But there's usually a default here. So it's going to say that all of your call conversions, it's going to default sending them into this one. But if we come here and set it to none, that's going to make it so that all of the other ones will automatically not report anymore. Instead, our system is going to be controlling them. So that's one way to do it as well, to make it a little simpler. Now, we do have a few prerequisites in order to have our data seamlessly flow into Google Ads. So in order to do that, we need to actually come back and go to our settings inside of ads and account settings. So from here, you need to have auto tagging enabled as well as call reporting enabled. And what this does is it's just making it so that Google Ads is tracking the same stuff we are. Because in order for them to allow these to count as conversions in their system, they need to be tracking them as well. So enabling call reporting will allow click to calls and add extensions to report, and enabling auto tagging is how we can send what I call click to landing page calls. So those two are necessary in order for this to work. All right. So that is our best practices. So if you are not a CallTrackingMetrics member, we do have 3 different plans. This is only available on our marketing and contact center plan. And if you are really on any plan of ours and you want to jump right into this, we have a professional services team. We like to say that they do the heavy lifting. So if you want our team to handle building and configuring all this, we can do that for you, and we're happy to do so. But as you saw, it is pretty easy to set up yourself, so you have 2 options there. So with that, we'd like to open it up to our Q&A. So I know I've seen a lot of questions coming in, so let's take a look at them. So I actually have Todd joining me as well. So I'm actually going to unplug my headset, and then we just, sure, we'll do that. Then my questions aren't loading.
Okay, yeah, mine are.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, great. Let's see here. So we have one question that came in asking if we're already linked to Google Analytics and we're using goals, do we need to make any changes to our existing conversions to enable direct connect?
So I briefly just touched on that. What you want to do is just make sure that we're not sending duplicates. So you're going to want to disable those conversions inside of ads, but other than that, no.
Right. And one of the cool things about this, right, is you could imagine like a migration process for customers, right? So you could link to direct ads, enable attribution. We'll start to pull attribution directly from Google Ads when it's available. If it's not, we'll still fall back to Google Analytics. So it's sort of a nice fail-safe for Google Ads to be linked that way. Then what you could do is you could add the conversion, right, and then disable the analytics goal. As sort of a way to migrate from old way to new way, right?
Yes, you just want to make sure when you're disabling the analytics goal, you're only doing that on the ad side.
Correct.
Because you still want all that reported inside of analytics.
Right, because, yeah, exactly. Like, this is not to say that the data you're getting in Google Analytics isn't already really good. It's just this is a different way that's a little bit more direct.
Correct.
Yeah. More questions. Oh, we have more questions coming in. You're seeing them now. Good.
Yeah, they're coming in for me now.
Should we take this one? What needs to be configured in order to track a call from the landing page back to the search keyword that the user clicked on?
Sure. I mean, with that, we just need to be connected.
Yeah. Our JavaScript code does need to be installed on the website.
Our JavaScript.
Right? And that's where the page checking tool is so nice, because it'll help validate that JavaScript code is actually installed correctly, right?
Yeah.
Because how many times have we had those cases where somebody might misunderstand a target number or a tracking number? At least now there's something that is kind of there that's automatically checking your work, making sure that it's set up correctly, to be a sort of a safety net, right?
Yeah, or you create like a quick landing page for a promo that you're doing for a week, and you don't think to put the code on. We'll be able to help you identify that right away,
Exactly.
Rather than being like, where's all this lost attribution?
Right, and then just being like, oh man, well, hopefully that campaign worked.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a great question.
Let's see here.
Somebody said, do you need to create a preset for each tracking source? So the one that's default created is going to be for all tracking sources. So what we do is we'll actually try to push all data into Google Ads, and then Google's going to kick back anything that they haven't tracked. So I think no is a pretty good answer for that.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing to keep in mind here, right, is that if somebody calls your call only phone number, and Google doesn't know that number, then Google's just not going to have anything to do with it. So there's no harm in sending it to Google anyway. If you have a click ID, you should probably just send it to Google, right? Because it would make sense that that call was associated to a click. So the nice thing is you actually can keep it very simple and not worry as much about what you filter out.
Yeah, so somebody else asked, will the conversion still get reported in Google Analytics once we disable the analytics conversion goal in Google Ads? Yes, so that's a great question, and that's why we say only disable them on the ad side, because we don't want to mess with your data in analytics. That'll just prevent it from going into ads.
And how about this one? What is the advantage of removing Google Analytics? Well, I just want to clarify, we're not suggesting you remove Google Analytics. It's a great platform, great solution. What we're suggesting is that we can more directly deliver and connect data from CallTrackingMetrics to AdWords specifically. So we can solve some of the problems that you can't solve with Google Analytics by itself, such as sending offline call only ads. The calls that those generate, you couldn't send those as conversions through Google Analytics because there's no client ID to associate to a session. So there's really no data to pass through Google Analytics in that case that AdWords could interpret. So with the integration, you can go directly to Google Ads. So it solves that problem. It closes that gap, right? But it by no means does this mean you should get rid of Google Analytics. We think it's a fantastic platform, and the two really do complement each other. This is more about making the data that you want to send to Google Ads easier to send and deliver.
Yeah, and it'll also help our team be able to better support you because all of the conversion are being configured in our system. Why with our Google Analytics integration, they're all built inside of Analytics. So we don't have visibility into those goals to help you troubleshoot why they may not be reporting. But if it's all built under a trigger, we can diagnose it, look at it right away, and get you solutions like instantly.
Did you share the diagnostics tool? I forgot. The web page tracking tool?
Oh, I didn't.
I think we skipped that.
I think I missed something.
Do you want to go back really quick and just show that?
Yeah.
I saw this question that came in about that.
Missed a part.
Hopefully we didn't have too many people drop off once we started Q&A. I don't think we did. I think it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really cool.
Yeah.
So this is going to give us some high-level KPIs, so we know our call-through rate, our cost per call, if we've identified any missing target numbers, how many pages it checked, if it found any errors. It would actually tell us what type of errors it's finding. So we can see our clicks, our calls, our click-through rates, all of it. Very cool.
Yeah. So this is the diagnostic tool that will also run on an ongoing basis, and can send you an email summarizing this report.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to show that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oops. Somebody says, where do you access the diagnostic page? Yeah, so this is going to be through the integration. So here's where we have them connected. So here's the logs that we spoke about and the diagnostics. So diagnostics. What's kind of nice is that because it lives here, you could very easily go through all of your different sub-accounts. And then the logs will tell you, what we're sending into ads and the status of them.
Right. So here you'll see this particular call that was tracked. We did this for the demo, obviously. It hasn't been processed yet. So what we do is we batch all of this to Google. That way, Google is happier about it. But that also means you can come here and you can see this transaction log of the event. So very much like with Google Analytics, we have a transaction log that guarantees delivery to Google Analytics. This also then is here to guarantee delivery to Google Ads. We thought it would make sense from learning that we should make this a separate page where you can actually see that transaction log.
Yeah. I see somebody asking, where theirs says that it's processing 29 of 102. Is that normal? Yeah, that's pretty normal. So what that means is that it's doing a live look right now. So it's about a fifth of the way there. So I would check back in a couple of minutes to give it some time to run and pull that data. So if somebody asked, should we disable the script we created and imported to or imported data every hour? So there's no harm in having that, honestly. We're kind of saying don't touch it just because there's no need to. It's not going to disrupt anything. It's not going to duplicate anything. If you want to keep your account really, really clean, you could get rid of that. But it's not going to harm anything. So hopefully I answered that well. Someone asked, when you transition to direct connection, do you lose your historical conversion data and ads that we pass through analytics? Oh, absolutely not, because these are actually going to be completely separate conversion actions. So it's just going to be another data layer, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But great question.
Yeah.
But no, you don't have to worry about that one.
How about this one about scoring revenue in the call log? Did we cover that one?
I guess briefly.
Yeah, because you did mention how we can trigger sales. I mean, through triggering, you can solve this problem, right?
Yep. So yeah, you would just create a separate trigger that would automate that as well, and then put in the revenue amount.
That's great.
All right, we still have a whole bunch of them. Let's pick out the good ones. I think that one's already been addressed. So somebody says, does your form tracking script measure all form fills as conversions or just form fills from Google Ads? So
it can do all, right?
Yeah,
it's not scoped to just Google Ads.
Yeah, that's kind of a part A and part B question. So inside of our system, any of those that have been marked as converted will report in our reporting, but Google Ads is only going to accept the ones that have paid information associated with them. I think we already did that one. Already answered that. Sorry, there's a lot of them. We're just trying to pull through. There's a lot of duplicates too. Okay. Yep. Okay, I addressed that already.
Yeah.
Somebody said, great presentation with some great information. Thanks. No, thank you. Thank you for attending.
Yeah.
It looks like we're really just getting duplicated questions. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to write, call, or chat in with our support team. They have all been working with this integration for quite some time now, so they are very educated on it. Any last words, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things that we're working on with this integration. So this is really the first version. So stay tuned. I think that we anticipate a lot of interesting, exciting new features that we'll be launching related to Google and Google Ads in the near future. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Jess, for doing such a great job of running this, and thank you to the team as well for building such a great product. Thanks.
All right, and with that, have a fantastic day, everyone.